Eva. I am 12 years old, alone. It is 1944, and here I crack stones for the road. I volunteered for this. I volunteer for everything, because the sign here says, Arbeit macht frei.
Work will set you free.
I will think when I am older that all this working with rocks will be why I became a sculptor, molding and shaping stone. But here, now, I can only think of my family and hope I will see them again. My family.
Who held your hands?
My family.
Whose hands you held?
My family.
Your grandfather.
We would walk together.
In the Carpathian Mountains. I was the mayor of that little town.
You loved to walk and hold your hand.
Your father.
We would dance together. I stood on your shoes.
In our little town of Satu in Hungary, I was a decorated hero from the last war. And even though I had wanted a son to carry on the Zuckerman name, you were so special to me and always said I had
a golden heart.
You taught me,
and your sisters, never ever tell a lie.
We played together.
In our little house with a garden, but soon, we don't play anymore. We're 8 years older than you. I'm 8 years older. You're only 7.
Clara, Irene,
Mother.
So I took my little hands and I made my dolls' clothes.
And I made you a little curtain on a little stage so your dolls could dance.
And I would sing a Hungarian song.
And charge a penny.
Hello, hello, it's radio, hello, it's Budapest. A lehetősebb szenzáció, mindeni tudja ezt. I remember they would break our windows. We made laws against you.
We mocked you.
We hurt you.
We moved you
to the ghetto.
There isn't any food. The Germans are taking over. Do not worry, we have friends. Jewish, Polish, young men. They will smuggle you across the border into Romania and make you Christian papers. You mean make us papers?
Mother? Mother! We took a train to the border
To meet a peasant who would make us the papers. But when we got there, Jews!
I did not know it then, but my sisters were sent back to my parents. I did not know it then, but
They were sent with over 18,000 other Jews from Satumara to their death to Auschwitz-Birkenau for Vernichtungslager. It was May 1944.
and I was alone. I was put in another ghetto in this foreign border town.
Are you all alone? How old are you?
11 and a half.
You look older. You're so cute. Don't worry, we'll take care of you. But first you have to get rid of those braids. Sorry, little one. We can't take care of long hair here. The lice, the vermin.
My mother. Only a few days later, we were all put on a transport,
And we arrived in
Arbeit macht frei.
Rex, lungs, Rex, lungs, Rex, lungs.
Tell them you were 16.
Why? I was told I should never lie.
Just do it.
I'm 16.
Rex, lungs, Rex, lungs, Rex.
I volunteer for everything. I crack these stones for the road. I pull garbage that should be pulled by a horse. I lug the vats of medicated black water that we are made to drink in the morning. When I'm older, I will have 2 back surgeries to repair the damage done by all this.
Work will set you free.
With my little body, I carry the sick to the infirmary. Later, I learn they are taken from there to be murdered. Every morning we must stand for roll call, for hours, in the heat, in the rain, in the snow. It is torture.
Clay is movable, pliable. You can build it into anything. You have total control. That's something you don't get a lot.
Wish my world was clay. I could make it change, make it better, make it come back, them come back, her come back. Mother, I will make you out of stone to keep you here, keep your memory alive. But I can't sculpt the world, only how I act to be changed like clay.
If I am clay, maybe others can be too. This morning I stand next to Toba. She was an orphan my father helped before this war. I'm pulled out! No! You saved my life. That is what your mother would do, yes? My mother, who could not say goodbye to me. I wonder if she's still in the ghetto. I wonder if I will see her again. I wonder if she will be happy I still have my own shoes. I wonder.
Vernichtenslager.
Today, we are brought into the showers. We all know that it is not water that will come out, but
Gas.
we are told Hitler says to
Close our eyes and dream.
All day we've been hearing it.
The sounds of Russian bombs.
But still, we wait for the showers to turn on.
We wait for the
Gas.
I will never know why, but it never comes. We are transported again, and we arrive
In Czechoslovakia.
in the camp Zittau. I build engines for the airplane factory on the night shift. I clean the rooms of the SS women on the day shift. I'm good with my hands. When I'm older, I will learn to cook and fix things, and I will create the most beautiful, haunting sculptures. But for now, I must learn to survive on one slice of bread and a little piece of cheese a day. I will not even think about touching
A beautiful sandwich.
that I find in the factory today. My eyes will have to eat the sandwich because
The capo is watching.
Capo is watching.
The capo is watching.
Capo is... He's gone.
all day we've been hearing it.
The sounds of Russian bombs.
But it's not possible.
That we are
Free.
I made my way back home to Satomare. All along the way, people would ask,
Adorable little girl. All alone. Can we adopt you?
I came home, but
There was no home.
only the garden was left, and the pansies I planted. And now I know how they feel. The Hungarian word for pansy is
Orphan.
Every day you went to the train station.
Searching for your sisters. Searching for any one of us.
I'm the only one from my school who survived. Why do I stay here? There is no one here, but
The Russian army is coming.
the Russian army is coming. I think I should go to Israel. I could sign up, but first we must get out of Hungary. We flee to Austria, and from there over the mountains to Italy.
the Russians will shoot us if they catch us.
In Italy, I stay in a DP camp for 4.5 years. And again,
You are so cute. May we adopt
I
you?
will not be adopted. I will feed my own hunger. I will feed it with knowledge. I will go to America. I will come to Los Angeles. I will marry. I will have 2 beautiful sons. I will create the first collapsible stroller. I will start my own business. I will marry again. I will listen to the little professor that is in my heart. I will have grandchildren. I will have great-grandchildren. I will start a new business. I will travel all over the world. I will go to Israel. I will stop in Cafe Dawn, and I will see Toba? It is Eva. Eva. Eva.
Everyone, this is Eva. We survived. Together, we survived.
These hands. I will take these hands and I will go to my first sculpting class. And the teacher will not believe it is my first class. I will use clay, I will use marble, and I will use the name Zuckerman to honor my father. I will make art from all the pain and all the passion that has been inside for so many years.
So many years.
I won't be able to speak.
To tell us your story.
But then,
You will see the movie Schindler's List.
And you will no longer be afraid.
And you will tell your children. And you will tell the world.
we live a life where there's too much hate. If you hate, it hurts your whole body. We are all bones and skin. Our color may be different, but we are all loving people. If you give love, you get back love. That is the key to the world. So now I owe this to you, to all the people in the world, because my aim is to spread love.
And one day, not too long ago,
A little bird will come to your window every day for a month. And you will see it.
and your son will see it.
And you will know that it is.
You will know that she has finally said.
Goodbye.
I can't believe this outcome. All these people. I called the whole world to please come. You have to see me. I'm Eva, and I survived. And my two gorgeous sons are here in the first row, and my best friend that I played sculpture. we did sculpture together. They gave me here to read something, and I add a few words. Because my aim is to spread love, as you can see, I wear a scarf, and I love everybody, doesn't matter, color, white, yellow. They're all my friends, and I get hugs from everybody. In the restaurants, everywhere. My kids, my grandkids. And I'm really here to spread love. I want this world to be a better world. Holocaust should never, ever happen again, because I'll be out there fighting with a gun. I don't know how to use a gun. And I should be I will be very strong. I'm strong right now, and I mean it. I'm a fighter. And I fight for our rights, women's rights, men's rights. Be happy and live in freedom. This should never, ever happen again. Okay? I love you all.
For Eva. He told me to close my eyes, to relax and dream of home, while he pigeonholed me in a prison, in a crowd, but all alone. He put me in worn stripes, to fill the place of a ghost. He left me to fill holes and roads that led to those I loved the most.
I have worked my little hands till they were calloused, grown, and raw, to find a way to show the world the terrors that I saw.
He told me to close my eyes, to relax and dream of home. Now a little bird sits on my window to
Tell me I'm not alone.
Because my aim is to spread love.
Elohim Shomea,
אדם נופל לפני שהוא שוקע, בתפילה קטנה חותך את הדממה. שמע ישראל אלוקיי אתה כה יכול, נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל, בעיני דמעה לבוכה בשקט, וכשהלב שותק הנשמה זועקת. שמע ישראל אלוקיי עכשיו אני לבד, חזק אותי אלוקיי עשה שלא יחד. הכאב גדול ואין לי על לברוח, עשה שיגמר כי לא נותר בי כוח. כשהלב פוחד זמן עומד מלכת, האדם רואה את כל חייו פתאום, אלא לא נודע, לא רוצה ללכת, לאלוהי קורא צו תהום. שמע ישראל אלוקיי אתה כה יכול, נתת לי את חיי, נתת לי הכל, בעיני דמעה לבוכה בשקט, וכשהלב שותק הנשמה זועקת. שמע ישראל אלוקיי עכשיו אני לבד, חזק אותי אלוקיי עשה שלא יחד. הכאב גדול ואין לי על לברוח, עשה שיגמר כי לא נותר בי כוח.
Welcome to the museum.
Today we will be hearing from Holocaust survivor Tomas Kovar.
Before the war, my name was Korn. That's a very Jewish name, a very popular name in Eastern Europe. I was born.
In the town of Nitra, Slovakia.
My father was a farmer.
My whole family, my uncles, my grandfather, they were all farmers. That doesn't mean they were planting potatoes, but they're managing farms. Please, don't interrupt me. Thank you. My father was managing a big farm owned by a fine Jewish man, Ernest Gruen. A very profitable farm. They used to grow tobacco, wheat, had cows for cheese, grapes for alcohol, vinegar. Slovakia was allied with Germany from 1938 all the way through 1944. But in 1944, I never wanted to tell the story. I never wanted to talk about it.
In 1944, Germany occupied,
Germany physically occupied Slovakia.
With soldiers.
And Ernest Gruen?
He was sent to a concentration camp with his family.
and the man who took over the farm?
Yes, he took it. He did not buy it.
And that man?
The politician, the private secretary of the president of Slovakia.
Who had allied himself with the Nazis.
And he always picked the best, so he picked this farm.
But
He did not know anything about farming.
So he asked your father.
If I save you, will you run the farm for me?
There are two other Jewish men who run the farm with me. One is Mr. Schlesinger, a specialist in alcohol and vinegar. The other is Mr. Feldmar, an accountant. I can't run the farm without them. In Slovakia at the time, there were two kinds of stars given to the Jews. One was large, yellow, and sewn onto the sleeve. The other was small and plastic, given to essential people, doctors, engineers, and
Farmers. We got the small star. We were allowed to walk around, go to school, and work in our town of Jabokreki. Until
6 months before the end of the war.
I cannot protect you anymore. You all have to leave.
where will we go?
There's nowhere to go.
We'll join the partisans.
But they've been pushed against the mountains by the Germans.
Then we go to the mountains. Clara!
But Mama!
Tomas, do not be afraid. We are together, and that is what matters.
Pack only what you need, food and clothes.
But Papa!
We will load up the horse and cart.
And you will ride up on top, my curly-haired 8-year-old boy.
It took 7 days to get to the mountains. I was the only child. But when we got there, the partisans knew.
The Germans are everywhere. This is the end.
The end of Slovakia.
What are they doing?
They're taking off their uniforms.
They can go home, you see, Tomas.
Why?
Because we are not
Jews.
So they just went back to their towns and villages. But for us, for the Feldmars, the Schlesingers, and us, we could only stay and hide here in the mountains. Papa, there's no more food!
And we will have to share the horse.
My mother and Mr. Feldmar kept kosher throughout the entire war, surviving on only bread and milk.
The Germans were flying overhead all the time.
Looking for people.
What if they see us?
Then they'll drop a bomb.
Tomas, do not be afraid. We are together, and we can pray.
You were like a rabbit, hiding in your hole. When the hunters came, you had to make it to safety. If you were out, you would have ended up on a hunter's trophy wall. You stayed safe, you hid, and though you were scared, you stayed with your family, not losing, but watching, praying, hoping that soon the hiding would end.
We come from the nearby village. We thought you had all left the mountains.
We have nothing. The mines are closed, and we have no work. We thought you partisans had left something behind we could use.
We're not partisans.
Who are you, then?
When did I'm a Jew become something you could not say?
If we pay you, will you take us into your house and save us?
It is a very small house.
The Russians are approaching every day. You can hear their bombs getting closer.
We could not possibly fit you all. No, we must stay together, the 3 families.
I will speak to my brothers-in-law. You wait.
Waiting to be told to leave his home.
Waiting to hear there's a place he can hide.
Waiting in a hut on top of a mountain.
Waiting to reach the safety of the house.
Waiting day after day for an end.
Waiting for his life to return.
Waiting for my life to return.
Mr. Cord.
Mr. Cohn.
Yes, we paid the Kors to hide us, but the little mining village, Ponitska Huda, was swarming with Germans. They could have betrayed us. They could have lost their lives. But instead, under the trap door, under the carpet, was a cellar.
4.5 feet by 4.5 feet.
We would hide here, lie here, waiting,
The Germans would come 3 times a week looking for Jews.
and we would have to hide in the cellar,
Or
through the armoire in the hidden storage room. The best place, the dense forest that led back up to the mountains.
The Germans are afraid to come here.
Tomas, do not be afraid. We are together, and we can pray.
We never knew if they would find us.
you never knew.
Are the Russians coming today, Papa?
You never knew.
Are we running out of money, Mama?
You never knew.
Russia! 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 Russia!
We never knew. 2 months before the end of the war, the Germans built trenches on the other side of our mountains to prepare to attack the Russian army that was getting closer every day. So all the men of the village, not just the Jews, went into hiding in a bunker in the forest. And the woman would put leaves and brushes over the top.
The Germans would walk right over them.
One day, Mother and I saw some Germans coming up on the Cora's house. We thought we had enough time to escape to the forest, so I opened the door. But it was so cold. So my mother went back to get a sweater for me. But I saw 3 Germans were almost at the house, coming up on the alley, and so I just ran into the forest expecting her to follow me. I kept looking back, but she didn't show up. It stayed with me for many years. After the war, I used to get up at night, jump out of bed, run on the street. Even after 1963, when I got married, my wife told me I still had nightmares.
Nightmares. I'm under the floor, footsteps harsh and loud.
Like hail raining down, have to take cover from the storm.
They are only a step away.
12 inches from what?
I don't know.
I just know that when you see the bad men,
You run when you see the bad men.
You hide.
I run for the trees.
For the unexplored forest,
I think only of my feet.
1 foot in front of the other.
running,
Pushing away brambles.
Breathing strain.
Stitches in my
my
side
cheeks burn,
They've been scraped by the trees.
But the only pain I feel
is my quickened breath.
and my realization.
Of what I left behind.
I
I
scream,
screamed.
left mama behind.
Left my son, my world.
My whole life.
I run to live.
I run to get away.
I run.
Even though I leave Mama. Mama?
Tomas?
Mama? Thomas!
I didn't know what happened to you. I thought they caught you, but then I heard your voice, my beautiful, sweet, curly-haired boy.
This stayed with me for a long time.
But then,
It was midnight. Russian soldiers! They wanted to know where the German trenches were so they didn't have to destroy the village or harm any civilians. My father said he could show them on the map. They took my father to meet their general. He was gone for 5 days. But then the next day, after the knock on the door, the German trenches were bombed. And we were liberated. My father received papers from the Russian general to allow us to ride with their army trucks back to Jablonki. Everyone would come to us, bringing our belongings back, saying,
I kept this for you.
or,
I held this for you.
but they hadn't held anything. They'd stolen it. People would come every day on trains, very skinny people, liberated from all the camps, looking for family, looking for distant relatives. We would feed them, but then they would go on, looking. We were home, but it wasn't like home anymore. 2 of my father's brothers were killed. One was sent to Auschwitz with my grandmother. One was murdered in Bratislava as part of a death march from Hungary to Austria. So it was just us 3 Jewish families left. Out of 55 Jewish families, all that was left was the Feldmars, the Schlesingers, and the Kohns.
From now on, our name is Kovar.
Why, Papa?
There was a pogrom.
I thought the war was over, Mama.
It was, but there was a rumor started about a Jewish doctor hurting Christian children. Many Jews have been attacked in a nearby town. We have to go.
But
Now,
we wanted to go to the United States, but Slovakia was not part of the Soviet Union. So we went to Chile instead. But even there, we remained Kovar. And we did not tell anyone we were Jewish. Even my best friend, he did not know I was Jewish until he got the invitation to my wedding.
Why did you feel you still had to hide as a Jew?
The war did not end all the hate. And there were many Nazis in Chile as well. And they were very powerful. I lived there 18 years. Then finally, we came to the United States, here in Los Angeles. And we were free.
What happened to the cores?
I went back to visit after the Soviet Union fell, to the town where we hid. It's a resort town now. I wanted to show my wife. Mrs. Core was still alive, in her late 90s. So I knocked on the door. Do you remember me?
No.
I used to live here.
I remember a short lady and her son, a curly-haired, black-haired boy.
That was me. I wanted to show my wife the cellar under the carpet.
No, the cellar entrance is outside. There's not one here. I did not remember.
The Kors were honored as righteous among the nations. Their names are on a plaque in Yad Vashem in Israel.
When did you start telling your story?
I never wanted to tell my story. I never wanted to talk about it. Even when I went to Yad Vashem, I stayed outside. But then, about 5 years ago, my daughter said she wanted to go to the museum here, so I said, okay, I'll go with you. And there was a lady from Slovakia speaking in the room, Gabriella. I remember when I asked you not to interrupt me. I was sitting in the second row and I kept saying, oh, that's like me, oh, that's like me. And my daughter was like, don't interrupt her. But I couldn't help it. She'd been hiding too in Bratislava. So I decided, if she's telling her story, I think I should start telling too. Because there are fewer and fewer of us who are still alive and we should share our story. We should stop hiding.
Play a game in thin air. It's the game of just pretending to be gone, just enough to be silent, a part of the atmosphere. Don't let the light shine in your eyes, and no one can hear you cry. Just hold your breath and disappear. Tell me the story of your life, and I'm sorry, but I know that I will cry when the words come crashing down into our minds, and we start to crack 'cause we don't understand why. If I listen hard enough, can I tell the world the story you told me? That even if they tell you that you're a lie, you still decide who you will be. And I will always hear the light can never disappear. Photograph, snap a shot as we stand in yellow light. We have stories to tell, and our voices can shatter the darkness. There are things that will never unfold, stories that will never be told. We'll try to hear them in the voices that we hold up today. Tell me the story of your life, and I'm sorry, but I know that I will cry when the words come crashing down into our minds, and we start to crack 'cause we don't understand why. If I listen hard enough, can I tell the world the story you told me? That even if they tell you that you're a lie, you still decide who you will be. And I will always hear the light can never disappear. Now we're here and we will stay and speak these stories for tomorrow and a day. So when the fading photographs fade to gray, we'll keep their words together. They'll speak aloud forever. If I listen hard enough, can I tell the world the story you told me? That even if they tell you that you're a lie, you still decide who you will be. Now I will always hear the light will never disappear.
Ten, 12,
16,
2,
142,
584,
10, 12,
16,
2,
142,
584,
10, 12, 16, 2, 142, 584, 10. 10 minutes! 10 minutes!
10
minutes!
10 minutes to pack one suitcase and leave your home forever? This is the town square of my hometown, Kowal in Poland. All the Jewish families who own the businesses here must go. For some unknown reason, my house and the houses of our uncles were spared, for now. It is 1939 and Poland has been divided into two parts. We are in the part annexed by the Third Reich. My father's sister lives near Warsaw, a part that is still under the Polish government but occupied by the Germans. I am 16.
16!
We must go.
But they have not come for us.
They say they will in 3 days.
Where did they take them? Where did they take
We're
them?
not going to wait for them to take us to who knows where. We will move to my sister's in Blani.
All right, children, pack only what you need.
We'll take both wagons.
My father and one sister and younger brother left with everything from our store. I put some bedding, clothing, and some little pieces of furniture on top. My mother and my other sister and me. We took the rest and arrived in Blani the next day. Everything was normal, actually. Things going on. But
Everyone has to work.
Yeah.
Or old.
Everyone has to work.
I went to a camp. That was my first camp.
10, 12, 16, 2, 142, 584.
We were building a canal. It was late fall, early winter, and I was standing in the water about up to the knees. I began to get sores on my arms and legs and became sick with blood poisoning. They allowed us to go home on the weekends, and I refused to go back to the camp.
Where is your son?
He is not here. He is supposed to be at the camp.
I stayed away from home for a few weeks until things cooled off, but by then, the Germans had created
The Warsaw
Warsaw
Ghetto.
Ghetto.
All Jews that live 50 to 60 kilometers of Warsaw must move into the ghetto.
So we moved again into the ghetto. Life in the ghetto was horrific.
Hunger.
Disease.
Despair.
Every morning you walked out, there were dead people.
In the streets.
In the sidewalks.
Everywhere.
We cannot live like this.
They say Koval is the same as we left it.
We have to go back. We have to go
We
back.
will bribe the guards. But we cannot all go. Only 3 of you.
We made it home to Koval, and for 3 days,
3 whole days.
we were free.
But then,
All men ages 16 to 60 must report to the schoolhouse.
I have to go. But then, after dark, I was taken to a camp near a city called Pozno. We were building a dam,
Loading the carts.
digging the mountains,
Dumping the carts.
digging the hills,
Loading the carts.
digging the mountains,
Dumping the carts.
digging the hills. It was hard.
Very, very hard.
In the morning,
A piece of bread and a dirty cup of coffee.
in the evening,
Soup of potato peels or spinach.
if you didn't get extra food,
You couldn't survive. People were dying. People were swelling up.
it was bad.
Very, very bad. Very, very. Brother!
After a while, I got a letter. One letter from my sister.
We were taken a few weeks after you to the Lodge Ghetto. I am still alive, but our brother, our dearest baby brother, has been taken to Helmno. He was gassed on a truck. I do not know what will happen to me or the rest of our family back in the ghetto. I hope you are alive.
For years, through many organizations, the Red Cross, I've tried to find out what happened to my family. I do not know. He was only 12.
12, 10, 12, 62, 142, 584.
Each day, breath, a step, a word away from death.
He cut heavy rock.
He laid cobblestone.
He cleaned the sewers.
We moved him from camp to camp.
Camp to camp.
Camp to camp.
Build us a dam.
Build a canal.
Build us an airport.
We will break you.
Today is hard, but tomorrow will be better. After 7 camps, I was transported.
To Auschwitz.
We're herded into a train.
Not a train. A cattle car. With a little window. No food, no water.
For
3 days. You have hope. You have hope because you remember. You remember before the war when you were all together, when you knew where they were and that they were alive and well. If only things could go back to the way they were before the war. Everything could have been perfect if not for those who knew who you were.
And though you had grown up together, had many cherished memories together, they turned you in, betrayed you, left you to die. It is hard to imagine why. Why?
Home. We'd arrived after midnight.
6 kilometers from the camp. As they opened the doors,
A third of us were already dead.
We got off the train.
he divided us into rows of 5. Then he picked us out, one by one.
It was him,
Mengele.
doctor of death. The people on the left, he said, he would be taken on a truck to the camp because we had stopped so far from the gate. They were sick people, old people, young kids. These are not the kind of people I want to be with. I'd been in 7 camps and always tried to work with the strongest, biggest men. I had to get to the other side. It was so dark, we'd arrived after midnight.
A feeling, a foreboding.
A foreshadowing.
It's dark. Run if you are caught. You're shot on the spot.
Legs heavy, heart pumping.
It's dark. Run.
The next morning, we found out the people taken on the trucks were sent straight to.
The crematorium.
When we got to Auschwitz, I got a shower, and then
I got this here.
One, 4, 2, 5, 8, 4.
From that moment on, that was my name. I had no name anymore.
142, 584.
Every person has a name.
Given to them. From the time they are born.
So no matter how hard they try,
They can never.
Never take away your name.
he talks and I watch his eyes, his voice spinning a story, his eyes belonging to another time, another place, a walking memory.
It is 1943, and I am in Birkenau, or Auschwitz II, assigned to barrack number 10.
10.
I know from my experience not to trust anyone when they ask you to work, because Mengele will take them instead. So sometimes you had to hide and not appear. Now they're rounding up people again for transport. First, they don't want Poles, but then there aren't enough people, so they take some Poles, and we are on another cattle car. For 3 days,
No food, no water.
No toilet, no air.
and we arrive in.
The Warsaw Ghetto.
It has been burned, and no one is left.
The Jews had organized a revolt to resist deportations to Treblinka.
The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising.
In response, the Nazis burned down the entire ghetto, and 13,000 Jews were killed.
The remaining 50,000 Jews were executed or transported to death camps.
And we had to clean it all up. my dear parents, my sisters, and my brother.
Were you there? Are you here?
Where are you now?
The weather was harsh.
Our shirts were shredded from lice.
There was no food.
Typhus broke out.
Hey! We found so many things in the burned out building. Household items we could trade with the Polish farmers. And then,
Out! March!
the Polish underground tried to free us.
And we failed. Out! March!
We walked and walked. Out to the country.
To drink, we drained water through the mud from our shirts.
We stopped by a river.
Those who dared to go in were shot.
It rained and rained. And then, another 3 days. And then,
Dachau.
there were 12 camps built all around Dachau.
12!
I worked in number 1.
Digging potatoes.
12!
I worked in number 7.
In the kitchen.
12!
April 28th, 1945.
Out! March!
And we walked for 2 days.
2!
We did not know this would later be called.
A death march.
We began to hear the American troops. And we began to,
Hope.
on May 1st, with snow up to our knees.
Hey! They're gone.
Look! Americans!
They're drunk.
Hey, are you Polish?
Yes.
Come on with us. Yeah, you're free now.
Free?
They took us into an underground bunker.
They gave us fresh clothes.
Backpacks of food and
Bicycles!
From there we moved into a displaced persons camp. But I didn't want to live in a camp anymore, so I lived in a farmhouse in Germany for about a month. Then I went back home to look for my family, but no one was there. But I heard,
There was your cousin.
still alive in another town.
Poland was very bad at that time for survivors. The Polish people would kill us when we came to take back our property.
So I went to get him. We'd grown up together.
But now, we are all that is left.
Joe and his cousin moved to the United States in 1949. He came from a family of tailors and established the Uniform Exchange in Los Angeles, a business he ran for 37 years.
Altogether, I was in 12 camps.
12, 10, 12, 16, 2.
No more numbers. My real name is Ziddle, but after the war I took on the name of my brother, Joe, to keep his memory alive. I keep his name because no one can ever
Never take away our names.
about new
The Blue Danube. They played it at the ice skating rink.
You would ice skate in the winter with your friends.
So free.
All your friends.
You were a happy child.
Show them.
I am 15.
We are all Hungarians.
I have so many friends.
And even though you are an only child,
In my hometown of Budapest,
You have such a big family.
my father had 8 brothers, which meant I had so many
aunts,
uncles.
cousins,
And we would all get together on the big holidays.
Rosh Hashanah,
Passover.
We went to the Dohani synagogue, which was reformed, but it still had the flavor of the old European tradition. We would sit on the balcony,
we girls,
and look down on.
the boys.
We went to public school, which meant my girlfriends were non-Jewish girls and Jewish girls.
But we were at a different school then.
The boys.
Our school faced theirs, the school floor.
The boys.
And we would make paper airplanes and shoot them over to
The boys.
And then we'd shoot them back into us.
And even after September 1939, the only media, the only publication of the news was
Radio and newspaper.
which was obviously controlled by
The government.
which meant that
We didn't know what was going on.
I think if we had known what was going on, we Hungarians might have done some protection maybe, but we'll never know. Instead, we became
The Jewish tragedy of Hungary.
But until then, I was still
Daddy's little girl.
He got me the most beautiful dolls, and I learned so much from him about music and books, all that stuff.
And from your mother.
I learned about American jazz, New Orleans, Bourbon Street, American movies.
All that stuff.
What about how to eat with a knife and fork?
Yes, I am a young lady, Daddy.
You can peel a peach with a knife and a fork.
Yes, I am well brought up, Mama, but America is
So far away.
like a dream.
Black and white.
Like the movies, all those American girls with their long hair and lipstick and nail polish, Daddy. We were not allowed to have nail polish. But everything was good. We were all happy, even though
It's 1943.
and they took my daddy. I was only 14. Mama?
Do not worry, those were Hungarian soldiers. Daddy has to fight, that is all. Just like Grandpa did in the last war. We can send him postcards.
And packages?
Yes, of course.
But he did not go to fight. He was sent to a labor camp where he was worked. Many of those men were then sent to the Russian front, where they used Jews to stand in front of the Hungarian soldiers to get shot. But they put this group of Jewish men in a wooden shack, and they ignited it. And anyone who tried to run out or escape got shot.
Oh, Mama, he will love this. And so we lived a year. My mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my friends.
It's 1944.
And there are laws now. Laws for you.
You have to wear a yellow star now, because you are
A dirty Jew.
But just yesterday we were.
Friends?
I would ride my bicycle, pretend all this wasn't happening. Law after law after law, discriminating, frightening. My bicycle! Mama.
A wonderful little girl. Skating with friends, playing with dolls, listening to songs. An innocent youth. The way a little girl should grow.
But her youth was taken too soon, ripped from everything she deserved. The safest places should be school and home, but an awful star changed it all.
And then the law comes.
Pack a suitcase.
What do you pack when you don't know
Where you go?
How far you go.
How long you go?
What do I pack? My record player, my books? They're heavy.
Some parents put in cookies and chocolate in case the children got hungry.
I pack a change of clothes, my favorite shirts, and only one of my dolls. At 15, I was not sophisticated. I still played with dolls. My daddy's dolls. My mother's parents were with us, each one of us with only one suitcase each. We were not allowed to carry money, but jewelry, in particular diamonds, we had sewn onto the shoulders of our dresses and the hems of our heavy coats.
A diamond ring could save a single child.
My only friend was with us as we were waiting at the train station.
All jewelry!
We didn't know whether this Hungarian soldier was official or not, whether he was ordered to do this or not. By now, there were no laws to protect us.
Earrings.
They're posts. I don't know how to work them.
It won't come off. Over 40 years of marriage, she has never...
For 3 days, with the bucket in the corner for a toilet.
That no one used.
The stench.
The tears.
The screams.
A woman went to labor.
Another had a miscarriage.
A man had a heart attack.
And the stench and the tears and the screams.
I've seen hate, so much hate. As I sit helplessly in this pit of darkness, I have no other choice but to watch as humanity unravels like a ball of yarn. Is this really what the world has come to?
I cling to my grandfather. He opens his hand to me.
Honey, don't worry. When they open the doors, I'll show them my medals, and they will send us home.
I wanted so much to believe him.
Ralph! Ralph!
We didn't know where we were, but we had to line up.
Forward, forward.
This group men.
This group woman. I couldn't even say goodbye to my grandfather. Then again,
Forward, forward.
then again,
Forward, forward.
and then
The selection.
we were in front of him. My grandmother and my friend's mother, who had gray hair, were pulled out. I thought we were selected because we would be made to work and my grandmother's group would be getting better food and accommodations.
Schnell! Schnell!
We get processed. We are showered, we are shaved, we are tattooed.
We are numbers.
Anyone? They took my daddy. Anyone? Where's my family?
Anyone? Where am I? Anyone? I want to go home.
Anyone?
Please help me.
I'm all alone. We are to choose one garment from a big pile of clothes. So many prisoners. So many people.
One garment.
To be our coat, our clothes, our handkerchief, our everything.
One garment. What happened to the others? The ones who were sent to the other side?
You see that chimney? You see that smoke? That's where they are.
And that's how we found out what had happened to our families. So much darkness. Here, now. Every morning, I wake up next to a dead person. The only moments of kindness seem to come during roll call, warning someone who is leaning on you to stand up straight when they come down the line. There is nothing to hope for. There is only hope. Period.
Mary,
Mother,
do not leave me.
never.
We must march. They are killing those who cannot.
We will march together, Mama. It is January in Poland, and the snow is deep. The Russians closed in on Auschwitz, so we had to be gotten rid of. The Nazis wanted to rid any witnesses to their atrocities, so we were put on
A death march.
until my mother can no longer walk. Oh, don't waste your bullet. She'll die anyhow. I don't know how that came to me, why I said what I said, but he did not kill my mama. We were put on another train, then sent to another camp, then sent to Ravensbrück in Germany, the women's camp. It's not just for Jews, but German citizens and prisoners of the war who were
Communists.
Socialists.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
anyone against Hitler.
There was so much hunger and lice.
We worked for Siemens, building machines for the war.
It was loud. There was screaming, crying.
And then one day, we woke up, and it was quiet. And we stepped out, and they're gone. And we're free. Somehow, we find our way back home, back to Budapest, and there I see my old friend. She was wearing my skating scarf, the beautiful blue angora my grandmother had sewn me.
Oh, I didn't know you were coming back.
Well, I did. My mother had contracted tuberculosis in Ravensbrück and was too sick to travel. So she stayed in Hungary and sent me to school in Berlin. The Iron Curtain blocked me off from ever seeing her again. I wait 5 legal years in Berlin. I want to go to America. I want to go to Los Angeles. I am too poor for New York. I have no family, no one to sponsor me, but I want to go. I get asylum, and I get on a ship, the same one that takes the Americans to Normandy for D-Day, the one that goes to New Orleans Harbor. Oh, I love it! I'm in New Orleans, in that city. I'm in America. This is where everyone is cared for, all shapes, all colors. This is history. This is the land of the free. I get on a bus exploring the city. Hey, you can't sit there. What? You can't tell me where to sit. I am free. I'm sitting.
You can't sit there with them. You have to come sit here with us.
I think to myself, who is this them? Who is this us? And then I realize all the faces next to me are black, and the ones up there are white. So I had come to a segregated America. So it was not all euphoria and happiness. I am happy to be alive. I am happy to be among you. I am happy to be a Jew who is free and can say, I am a Jew. But when people are asking me, you're a girl, why don't you remove your tattoo? I say, well, this is my color. Can a black person remove theirs and become white? No. And I shouldn't have to be anything else, but I can stand up and be who I am, and you should too. And we should all stand up and go beyond and work for it so that we can all be who we are.
I am purity tainted.
I've seen the before and after
Of a world plagued with confusion.
I've flown inside a paper airplane.
From a happy past to a perished future.
Though inconsistent is this world,
outside my paper airplane.
Inside, I have kept my years of youth.
When Daddy played jazz music.
As I glide through the darkness.
trading diamonds for my life.
My youth peeks through
Searching carefully.
for another paper airplane. Never hate, never stop learning. That is what you taught us, Eva. And that as long as the night may seem, the sun will always come up, reminding us to radiate our light and do our part to make the world a more loving place. You told us to fight for our right, and for your story, for your art, for you, Eva, we will.
Tomas, we listened to you, gentle witness, so refined and innocent. You were in darkness for so long, but for all of us you represent the life at the end of the tunnel, the triumph of freedom and the power of letting the story be known.
Never give up, never lose hope. Joe, you have truly made us understand. When you finished your story, you gave me a hug and suddenly I understood. It is a victory.
every time you tell your story. I promised you to never forget your story. Then you smiled and told me to never forget what happened after it all ended.
Mary, your fierce and loving determination taught us that change comes from those who fight for humanity. Remember, you told us. Remember, 6 million is not a number. Those are people. Stand up for them. Stand up for their lives, for the stories they lived, for the stories they should have had. Stand up for them. Mary, Tomas, Joe, and Eva, we will stand up for you. We will stand up for them.
Oh, jeez. All right.
And Talia, will you come up too? Thank you. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Let's just give another big round of applause to our students. Their families, another just round of applause. This is all for you. Thank you all for joining us. We hope you have a lovely evening, and just thank you so much for your support and joining us in this meaningful event.